Chapter 1. A Turning Point in Fate. A mysterious script appears. Sophia Thompson is the beloved youngest daughter of the Thompson family. She is innocent and lively, and her smile can dispel the haze, making her the heart and soul of the family. Not only is she charming in personality, but she is also extremely diligent and studious, always ranking at the top of her class in academic performance. Despite her young age, she has long harbored a deep desire to contribute to the family business that has been passed down through generations. The Thompson family business is vast in scale, boasting numerous subsidiaries and a wide range of business operations, wielding significant influence in the commercial realm. Among these, Aurora Energy Company stands as one of the core pillars of the family business, shouldering the important expectation of the family's future development. However, her father, David, was overly protective of her. He always worried that the harsh business world would harm her, so he gently but firmly dissuaded her from getting involved in the family business matters time and time again. Although Sophia felt disappointed, she respected her father's wishes and devoted herself wholeheartedly to her studies, temporarily setting aside her aspiration to participate in the family business. One day, feeling frustrated by her unfulfilled desire to engage in the family business, and wearied by the monotony of her daily life, Sophia decided to embark on a solo journey. She traveled to various cities, seeking solace and new perspectives. As if guided by some invisible force, she arrived at an ancient and elegant European town. On a particularly sunny afternoon, while wandering aimlessly, she noticed an old-fashioned building with a sign that read library. Out of curiosity, she pushed open the heavy door. The moment she stepped inside, a sense of tranquility washed over her. The air was filled with the musty smell of old books, and the dim light filtering through the stained glass windows created a warm and inviting atmosphere. Little did she know that this chance encounter would forever change the course of her life. She strolled among the bookshelves, her fingers casually gliding over the spines of the books, when she accidentally came across a particularly thick and ancient-looking book. When the mysterious script landed in her hands, the old leather cover exuded a unique aura, as if whispering tales of the past that had been sealed by the passage of time. She opened it casually, and the familiar surname Thompson flashed before her eyes like a bolt of lightning, causing her breath to catch in her throat. The contents of the script were like a terrifying prophecy, vividly depicting the impending doom that awaited her family. Aurora Energy Company, a subsidiary of the family business, while vigorously promoting a new energy project, had unwittingly stepped on the toes of the Black Gold Consortium. This new energy project, which was originally a crucial initiative for the family business to seek breakthroughs and development, unexpectedly became the trigger for the impending crisis. The Black Gold Consortium began to launch a malicious attack on Aurora Energy Company, putting its capital chain in jeopardy, surrounding it with a cloud of legal disputes, and on the verge of unleashing a storm of public opinion. And within the family, members were caught in the whirlpool of this crisis, each driven by their own self-interests. Some were desperate to protect themselves, while others were lured by greed, gradually losing themselves in the maze of power and money. Sophia's heart pounded violently, and her hand holding the script trembled uncontrollably. Her mind was in chaos, and fear surged through her like a tidal wave, overwhelming her completely. Could this really be the fate that awaited her family? How could it be possible that a script found in a library in a foreign land could predict the future of her family with such precision? Her rational mind told her that it might just be a coincidence, a preposterous prank. However, the details in the script regarding the operation of Aurora Energy Company and the reactions and behaviors of the family members in this crisis were all too familiar to be ignored. She found it impossible to simply dismiss it as a coincidence. She was torn between two conflicting emotions. On one hand, she was terrified that this might be true, for if it was, the disaster that awaited her family would be catastrophic, and she couldn't even bear to imagine the dreadful consequences. On the other hand, she was consumed by an intense curiosity, longing to uncover the secrets hidden within the script and determine whether it was truly related to her family. This internal conflict tugged at her heart, leaving her restless and unable to find peace. As she flipped through the pages one by one, Sophia's fear grew stronger, but so did her curiosity. Finally, after a fierce internal struggle, she gritted her teeth, and made a decision. Regardless of whether the script was true or false, she had to return home. If it turned out to be just a false alarm, that would be the best outcome. But if everything in the script came to pass, she could never stand by and watch her family fall into ruin. Ignoring the fatigue from her journey, she booked a flight back home that very night, with only one thought in her mind: to save her family. On the plane, Sophia held the script tightly in her arms, silently praying that it was all just a misunderstanding. However, the unease in her heart grew like wild grass, and her fingers unconsciously stroked the cover of the script, as if hoping to draw more strength and answers from the old paper. Chapter 2: Family Crisis. Difficult persuasion to join. Sophia rushed back home in a state of great anxiety, the wheels of her suitcase making rapid clicking sounds on the floor. She had expected to be confronted with the full force of the family's crisis as soon as she entered the door. However, the scene before her eyes left her somewhat puzzled. Her father, David, was struggling to hold back his weariness, forcing a smile on his face, while her mother was pretending to casually sort out the documents on the tea table beside him. Sophia stopped in her tracks, and a strong sense of unease suddenly welled up in her heart. The plot of the script that she had studied repeatedly on the plane kept flashing through her mind. The seemingly ordinary scene in front of her was in stark contrast to the impending crisis depicted in the script, which made her begin to doubt the authenticity of the script. Could all of this be just an unrealistic fantasy of hers? "Darling, you're finally back. How was your trip?" Her father's voice tried hard to remain steady, but the deep dark circles under his eyes and his slightly trembling hands still betrayed his exhaustion. Sophia was extremely anxious. The content of the script kept swirling in her mind, and she was eager to find out whether those terrifying plots were actually unfolding in reality. However, when she saw her family members trying so hard to maintain their composure, the words that were on the tip of her tongue were swallowed back. She simply couldn't bear to make her family more worried. Just as she was in this state of great indecision, a financial news report suddenly interrupted the TV program. The screen showed the panoramic view of the family business building, followed immediately by the real-time data of the plummeting stock prices. Her father's face instantly turned even paler, and he instinctively reached out to turn off the TV, but Sophia stopped him. "Dad, don't turn it off. I already know everything," Sophia said firmly. "When I was in Europe, I learned something about the family business, and I want to help out in the company." A flash of relief crossed her father's eyes, which was quickly replaced by a look of helplessness. He gently patted Sophia's shoulder and said, "I'm really happy that you have the heart to help, but the situation in the company is too complicated right now, and I don't want you to get involved." Sophia was extremely anxious. She knew very well that time was of the essence, and every single second counted. "Dad, I'm not a child anymore. I have the ability to be of help. And she almost blurted out the matter of the script, but managed to stop herself in time. "I can really be of assistance." The two of them reached a stalemate, neither willing to back down. Just then, her sister, Amy, rushed out of the room, gripping her phone tightly in her hand and looking deathly pale. "It's another debt collection call from the bank. Can't they just leave us alone?" Amy angrily threw her phone onto the sofa, her voice tinged with sobs. "What on earth are we going to do?" Sophia quickly stepped forward and gently hugged her sister, trying to soothe her. "Amy, don't panic. We will definitely find a way." However, Amy, like a wounded wild animal, suddenly broke free from Sophia's embrace. "A way? What way could we possibly have? The family business is really going to go under this time." Sophia took a deep breath. She knew that it was time to reveal everything she knew. She looked at her father and sister and said slowly, "I know that the family business is facing more than just financial problems right now. The Black Gold Consortium is maliciously shorting our stocks, and there may even be internal collusion. If we don't take action as soon as possible, the consequences will be unimaginable." Her father and sister looked at her in surprise, their eyes filled with doubt. Sophia then told them all about her discoveries in Europe and her analysis of the family business's crisis in one go. Although she concealed the existence of the script, her analysis was logical and well-founded, making her father and sister have to take a new look at this younger sister who had always been protected under their wings. Her father remained silent for a long time. Finally, He let out a sigh. Well, since you know so much, you can go and take a look at the company. But you must be careful. If there's any danger, you have to let me know immediately. Sophia nodded vigorously, feeling both excited and nervous. She knew that she had finally taken the first step towards saving the family. At night, Sophia lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, lost in thought. The room was completely silent, with only the occasional sound of a vehicle passing by outside the window. She recalled everything that had happened during the day and became even more certain that the prophecies in the script were gradually coming true. She couldn't fall asleep. Her mind kept thinking about countermeasures, trying to find the key to breaking the deadlock from those densely packed words. She knew that the days ahead would be extremely difficult, but for the sake of the family, she had to move forward bravely and never back down. Chapter 3. Deepen the crisis and prepare for response. The next morning, as the sunlight filtered through the gaps in the curtains and spilled into the room, Sophia got up early. She carried the secret of the mysterious script like a heavy treasure, yet could only guard it by herself. She understood that once the secret was revealed, not only might no one believe it, but it could also bring more unknown troubles to her and her family. Just as the sky was beginning to lighten, Sophia sat at the desk and carefully opened the mysterious script. The soft morning light fell on the yellowed pages, and there was both determination and a hint of imperceptible nervousness in her eyes. She was well aware that stepping into Roro Energy Company today would officially kick off the confrontation with the Black Gold Consortium, and the script was her only reliance. She gently ran her fingers over each line of the script, not missing any detail, and carefully searched for events and characters related to the current time. Whenever she came across something crucial, she would pick up a pen and quickly jot down notes in the notebook beside her. Neat lines of writing gradually filled the pages. The common business tactics of the Black Gold Consortium, the possible characteristics of the trader within the company, and the several upcoming crisis nodes that Roro Energy Company would face. Each piece of information was like a guiding lighthouse in the darkness, showing her the way forward. During the analysis, she noticed that there were abnormal fluctuations in the capital flow of Roro Energy Company, which was exactly the same as the prelude to the enemy's attack described in the script. Sophia's heart tightened suddenly. She knew that time was pressing, and she had to take immediate action. The next day, she pretended to be calm and arrived at Roro Energy Company. Relying on the financial knowledge she had learned at school, she skillfully adjusted the company's capital allocation and set up defenses in advance at key financial nodes. She diverted a portion of the company's liquid funds and invested them in some bond projects that had a low correlation with the stock market but were highly stable, in case the company's capital chain broke when the stock prices plummeted. At the same time, she also secretly contacted several alumni who had extensive connections in the financial circle and asked them to help stabilize the market public opinion at critical moments. Meanwhile, the script had vaguely mentioned that there was a traitor within the family who would hinder the investigation progress at crucial moments. Sophia paid extra attention and observed everyone discreetly during daily communication. She noticed that Henry Morris, an old employee in the company's finance department, had been acting strangely recently. He frequently answered calls while avoiding others, and there was often a look of panic in his eyes. Every time he finished a call, he would quickly leave the office area, as if deliberately concealing something. Moreover, when handling some financial data, Henry was extremely cautious, even overly sensitive, which deepened Sophia's suspicion of him. To confirm her speculation, Sophia used the computer knowledge she had acquired at school to conduct a comprehensive investigation of the company's internal network. She discovered that there were some abnormal network connections on Henry's computer, which pointed to some unfamiliar server addresses. After conducting an in-depth investigation, she found that these servers were intricately linked to the Black Gold Consortium. However, this was still not conclusive evidence, and Sophia decided to dig deeper. As the investigation progressed, danger loomed closer. One day, when Sophia was finishing her work and preparing to go home, she suddenly felt a pair of eyes staring at her from behind. She became alert and quickened her pace, but at a dimly lit alleyway, she was blocked by several men in black. The leader of the men in black said coldly, "Little girl, stop investigating. There are some things that aren't your business." Sophia's heart raced, but she put on a brave face and loudly retorted, "Who are you? What right do you have to stop me?" Her mind quickly ran through various countermeasures, and she secretly gripped her phone tightly, ready to call the police at any moment. Just as the men in black were about to move closer, Sophia suddenly caught sight of a police car on patrol not far away, its lights flashing. An idea flashed through her mind. She deliberately started crying and shouting loudly, causing the men in black to panic. Taking advantage of their distraction, she forcefully threw her bag at them. While they were evading, she dashed towards the police car with all her might, shouting for help as she ran. Sensing that things were going wrong, the men in black, fearing being discovered by the police, had no choice but to give up the pursuit and quickly disappeared into the darkness of the alley. A terrified and breathless Sophia returned home and sat on the edge of the bed, gasping for air. She knew that she had completely enraged the forces behind the scenes, but she had no way back. For the sake of her family, she had to keep moving forward bravely. Chapter 4. Work together to uncover the traitor's conspiracy. After being threatened by the men in black in the alley last time, Sophia was well aware that she urgently needed reliable allies. She opened the mysterious script once again, and the hint that those who were deeply passionate about the new energy project within the family business might be trustworthy partners gave her a direction and to follow. Sophia began to observe the employees involved in the new energy project at Aurora Energy Company in a discreet manner. Alicia, a technical backbone, soon caught her attention. Alicia was always the first to arrive at the company and the last to leave every day, fully immersing herself in the research and development work. Her eyes were brimming with love and enthusiasm for the project. Additionally, Alicia's father had once been a long-serving employee of the family business, showing unwavering loyalty to the company. Sophia believed that this sense of family loyalty was likely to have been passed down to Alicia. To further test Alicia's loyalty and commitment, Sophia deliberately spread the false news that the new energy project was on the verge of suspension due to a shortage of funds. After the news spread, many employees became anxious and discontented, and they started to make plans for their own futures. However, Alicia immediately sought out Sophia. With sincere words, she expressed her unwavering confidence in the project and put forward a series of practical suggestions to cut costs and ensure the project's continued progress. From Alicia's resolute gaze and heartfelt words, Sophia was convinced that she had found the partner she had been searching for. So, Sophia approached Alicia and confided in her all about her plans and the experiences she had endured. After listening intently, Alicia didn't hesitate for a moment. She firmly grasped Sophia's hand and said, "Sophia, let's fight together. This project is the fruit of my hard work and dedication, and I will never allow those villains to succeed." After joining forces, the two of them delved deeper into the conspiracy of the Black Gold Consortium while keeping a close eye on any abnormalities within the company. During a thorough review of the company's financial data, Alicia detected some subtle loopholes in the accounts. These loopholes were so cleverly concealed that it was almost impossible to spot them without her keen technical acumen and high level of sensitivity to financial data. She informed Sophia of her discovery, and the two of them followed the leads to conduct a more in-depth investigation. They found that these abnormal accounts were all related to the operations of Henry Morris. Remembering Sophia's previous suspicions about Henry, they decided to conduct a more comprehensive investigation of him. Alicia utilized her excellent hacking skills to remotely monitor Henry's office computer. Of course, their actions were carried out within the boundaries of legality and compliance, as an emergency measure to safeguard the interests of the family business. Through the monitoring, they discovered that Henry often logged into an encrypted online chat group late at night. Although the conversations in the group were encrypted, Alicia, with her outstanding technical expertise, gradually managed to decrypt some of the information. From the decrypted content, they confirmed that Henry was indeed the traitor. He had been in frequent communication with members of the Black Gold Consortium and had leaked a great deal of confidential information about the family business. Just as they were about to expose Henry's treachery, Henry seemed to sense that something was amiss and began to desperately try to destroy the evidence. One late night, Sophia and Alicia were working overtime at the company as usual. When they passed by the finance department, They noticed that Henry's office light was still on. They approached quietly and peeked through the door crack. They saw Henry nervously operating in front of the computer, with a paper shredder running nonstop beside him and the floor littered with shredded paper. Sophia and Alicia exchanged a knowing look and, without a word, rushed into the office together. When Henry saw them, his face instantly turned as white as a sheet, and he tried to shut down the computer and make a run for it. Sophia was quick on her feet and blocked his way. "What are you doing?" Sophia asked sternly. Henry tried to maintain his composure but stammered, I'm working overtime to sort out the accounts." "Is that so? Then why are you destroying these documents?" Alicia pointed at the shredded paper on the floor, her eyes fixed on Henry like a hawk. Henry was left speechless, and beads of sweat began to form on his forehead. At this moment, Alicia had already rushed to the computer. After some quick operations, she managed to recover the files that Henry had just deleted. The files clearly recorded his email exchanges and fund transfer records with external forces, leaving no room for doubt about his guilt. "You betrayed the family, and you must pay the price for your actions," Sophia said angrily. Confronted with the irrefutable evidence, Henry collapsed to the ground and confessed his crimes. It turned out that he had been lured by the substantial bribes offered by the Black Gold Consortium. Driven by his own greed, he had not hesitated to betray the family. Sophia and Alicia handed him over to the police, eliminating a major hidden threat within the family. After dealing with Henry's betrayal, they didn't slack off for a moment. Instead, they continued to fight side by side. Alicia, leveraging her expertise in technology, delved deep into the technical architecture of the Black Gold Consortium's company, hoping to uncover their technical vulnerabilities. She would often sit in front of the computer screen for hours on end, her eyes fixed on lines of code, not missing a single detail. Meanwhile, Sophia, using her knowledge of finance and law, analyzed the business layout and legal loopholes of the Black Gold Consortium. She pored over a vast amount of materials, from the company's financial statements to industry laws and regulations, in search of a breakthrough to strike back. At an important technical seminar, Alicia discovered a potential security flaw in the new energy technology of the Black Gold Consortium. Once this flaw was verified, it would deal a severe blow to their market reputation. As soon as Sophia learned about this, she immediately organized a team to collect relevant evidence and contacted a professional technical appraisal institution for testing. During the waiting period for the test results, they were under immense pressure. The Black Gold Consortium seemed to have sensed their actions and began to interfere with them in various ways. However, they did not flinch. Instead, their determination became even stronger. Finally, the test results came out, confirming Alicia's discovery. Sophia took the report and found an influential friend in the media to make the evidence public. In an instant, public opinion was in an uproar, and the Black Gold Consortium was plunged into a whirlpool of public condemnation, buying precious time and opportunities for Sophia and the family business. Nevertheless, they knew that this was just a small victory in the long and arduous battle, and there were still many more challenges awaiting them in the future. But as long as they stood together and supported each other, no difficulty could stop them from moving forward. Chapter 5. Difficult Evidence Collection. Public Opinion Reversal. After dealing with Henry, the internal traitor, Sophia and Alicia didn't halt their efforts. They were well aware that the real adversaries, the Black Gold Consortium and the corrupt politicians, were still lurking in the shadows. To completely bring them down, there was still a long and arduous road ahead. Sophia opened the mysterious script once more, hoping to glean more useful clues from its words. Although the script didn't explicitly indicate the exact location of the evidence, the veiled hints within it were like glimmers of light in the darkness, guiding her way. In pursuit of the evidence, Sophia embarked on a long and arduous investigation. She walking through the streets of the city, every street corner bore witness to her tireless footsteps. She engaged in conversations with small merchants who had been oppressed by the Black Gold Consortium, listened intently to their harrowing experiences, and pieced together fragmented clues from their stories. Most of these small merchants led a difficult life under the monopolistic and oppressive actions of the Black Gold Consortium. Their businesses were on the verge of collapse, The helplessness and indignation reflected in their eyes further strengthened Sophia's resolve to expose the truth. By chance, Sophia learned that a retired executive of an energy company had been involved in some secret transactions. She was overjoyed and went to great lengths to track down the executive's residence. It was an old-fashioned villa situated on the outskirts of the city, surrounded by lush green trees, exuding a serene atmosphere. However, at that moment, Sophia had no time to appreciate the beautiful scenery. With a nervous heart, she knocked on the aged door, filled with both trepidation and anticipation. An elderly man with white hair opened the door. His eyes were filled with caution as he sized up the unfamiliar girl in front of him. Sophia sincerely stated her purpose. However, the old man's expression immediately darkened. After a moment of silence, he said coldly, "Young lady, you'd better leave. These are matters that you shouldn't meddle in. Don't get yourself involved." With that, he was about to close the door. Sophia quickly blocked the door with her hand and pleaded earnestly, "Sir, I understand the danger involved, but my family's business is facing a life-or-death crisis. Countless people's hard work and future are at stake. You were once a part of this industry. Can you really bear to watch those villains continue to act unscrupulously?" The old man's hand froze, and a flicker of hesitation flashed in his eyes. Sensing this, Sophia continued, "I promise you that I will protect you. The clues you provide will be the key to exposing their crimes." The old man let out a long sigh and finally allowed Sophia to enter the house. He tremblingly took out some letters and documents from an old box. These documents contained some communication records between the Black Gold Consortium and the corrupt politicians. Although it was only a fraction of the evidence, for Sophia, it was a crucial breakthrough. She carefully took the documents, her eyes welling up with excited tears. After thanking the old man repeatedly, she left in a hurry. Meanwhile, Alicia also achieved a significant breakthrough in the technical aspect. With her exceptional hacking skills, she managed to infiltrate a secret server of the Black Gold Consortium's company. The files in the server were encrypted layer by layer, and cracking each password was like scaling a steep mountain. However, Alicia didn't flinch. She stayed up for several days and nights without sleep, her eyes bloodshot. Finally, she successfully decrypted the passwords and obtained key information such as the flow of funds and transaction times of the Black Gold Consortium's bribes to the corrupt politicians. Armed with these clues, Sophia decided to hand over the evidence to a righteous journalist she trusted, Jack Wilson. Jack had always been concerned about the dark side of the business world and was deeply disgusted by this kind of collusion between politics and business. When Sophia found him and presented the organized evidence, shock and anger were evident in Jack's eyes. "These pieces of evidence are of great importance. I will definitely make the truth known to the public," Jack said firmly. With Jack's efforts, the media began to expose this incident on a large scale. Articles revealing the heinous acts of the Black Gold Consortium and the corrupt politicians were published in major newspapers and news websites, attracting widespread attention from society. The public unanimously condemned this improper business behavior and demanded that the government conduct a thorough investigation to restore integrity to the business world. For a time, the tide of public opinion shifted dramatically. Sophia's side, which had been at a disadvantage, gradually gained the upper hand in the court of public opinion. However, the Black Gold Consortium and the corrupt politicians were not willing to be exposed so easily. They attempted to suppress the media through various means, and even threatened Jack and Sophia. One day, Jack received an anonymous call. A menacing voice came from the other end of the line. "You'd better stop reporting, or your family will be in danger." Jack was not intimidated. He informed Sophia of the threat. Although Sophia was worried, determination flashed in her eyes. "We can't back down. If we do, all our previous efforts will be in vain." To deal with the potential threats, Sophia and Jack formulated a detailed response plan. They made multiple copies of the evidence and distributed them to different media outlets and lawyers, ensuring that even if something happened to them, the evidence could still be made public. At the same time, they applied to the police for protection and enhanced their own security measures. Under the pressure of public opinion, the government finally stepped up its investigation efforts. The police launched a comprehensive investigation into the Black Gold Consortium and the corrupt politicians, freezing some of their assets and summoning the relevant individuals. Sophia knew that the decisive moment was approaching, and she had to make thorough preparations to face the upcoming challenges. While dealing with the public opinion crisis, Sophia didn't forget the clues about the internal conflicts within the gang in the script. She conducted in-depth investigations and found a key figure in the gang, a mid-level leader named Tony. Although Tony held a relatively high position in the gang, he was deeply dissatisfied with the current profit distribution. Sophia got in touch with Tony through an intermediary and met him in a hidden warehouse. The warehouse was filled with a damp smell, and the lighting was dim. Tony eyed Sophia warily and asked, "What do you want from me?" Sophia calmly took out a document containing evidence that the Black Gold Consortium had hired the gang to target her family. "Look at this. The Black Gold Consortium is just using you as a pawn. Once things are exposed, you'll all be in big trouble," Sophia said calmly. Tony took the document, and his expression darkened. Sophia continued, "The meager benefits they offer you are insignificant compared to their huge profits. Moreover, now that the government has started investigating them, if you don't want to be implicated, you should make the right choice." After a fierce internal struggle, Tony finally nodded. "You're right. I can't let them use me anymore." With Tony's help, Sophia successfully disrupted the alliance between the gang and the Black Gold Consortium, gaining more advantages for the family business in the upcoming shareholders meeting. She knew that every step was fraught with challenges, but for the future of her family, she had to press on bravely until she completely defeated the enemy. Chapter 6. The Final Showdown. The family ushered in a turning point as the day of the shareholders' meeting drew nearer. The entire city seemed to be filled with the tense atmosphere of this impending business battle. Sophia and her team worked day and night, making final preparations for this crucial battle that would determine the fate of the family. In order to win the support of more shareholders, Sophia and Alicia personally visited each influential shareholder. They brought carefully prepared materials and elaborated in detail on the development prospects of Aurora Energy Company and the great potential of the new energy project. Every time they visited a shareholder, Sophia had to face their doubts and concerns. After all, in the current state of the company, shareholder trust is at stake. When visiting a senior shareholder, the latter frowned and said, "Sophia, I admit that you and your team have been working very hard, but the Black Gold Consortium is too powerful. How can we ensure that this confrontation won't lead to the complete bankruptcy of the family business?" Sophia took a deep breath and looked the shareholder firmly in the eye. "I understand your concerns, but we have already gathered sufficient evidence to expose their evil deeds. Moreover, the new energy project represents the future trend. As long as we persevere, the family business will surely embrace a bright future." After a long and in-depth conversation, the shareholder was finally convinced by Sophia's sincerity and confidence and promised to support them at the shareholders' meeting. At the same time, the Black Gold Consortium was also making intense arrangements for their plans. They tried to win over more shareholders to their side through intimidation and bribery. They even resorted to underhanded means to threaten those shareholders who were wavering. Their chief negotiator, a middle-aged man named Victor, said coldly to his subordinates in a luxurious conference room, "This shareholders' meeting must succeed. No matter what it takes, we must make those shareholders vote in our favor." On the day of the shareholders' meeting, the venue was heavily guarded, and the atmosphere was so tense that it was almost suffocating. Sophia arrived at the venue early. She was dressed in a capable business suit, and determination and confidence shone in her eyes. Although she was also a little nervous inside, she repeatedly reviewed the prepared speech and evidence in her mind to ensure everything went smoothly. Her hand unconsciously touched her handbag, where the evidence they had painstakingly collected was placed, which was their powerful weapon against the Black Gold Consortium. The representatives of the Black Gold Consortium entered the venue arrogantly. They were dressed in expensive suits and wore haughty smiles on their faces, as if they had already secured victory. The representatives of both sides stared at each other in the venue, and a fierce confrontation was palpable in their eyes. The meeting began, and Victor, the chief representative of the Black Gold Consortium, took the floor first. He spoke at length about the benefits of acquiring Aurora Energy Company, trying to persuade the shareholders to support their proposal. His words were highly persuasive, and some shareholders with wavering positions began to show signs of hesitation. When it was Sophia's turn to speak, she walked steadily onto the podium, took a deep breath, and then began to expose the various evil deeds of the Black Gold Consortium. First, she presented the ironclad evidence of their collusion with corrupt politicians, including the amounts of bribes, the times and places of transactions, as well as relevant documents and recordings. Then, she showed the evidence of the Black Gold Consortium's malicious short-selling of Roro Energy Company's stocks and analyzed in detail their manipulation methods and the flow of funds. Finally, she also revealed the fact that the Black Gold Consortium had hired gangs to threaten her and her family members. Each piece of evidence was like a bombshell, causing an uproar in the venue. Victor's face turned extremely pale. He tried to refute, but Sophia's evidence was conclusive, leaving him with no room to argue. A flash of panic crossed his eyes, but he quickly regained his composure. He sneered and said, "These are just lies fabricated by you. You are just trying to protect your own interests." During the intense debate, the two sides went back and forth, neither willing to yield. The atmosphere in the venue was so tense that everyone held their breath and watched the intense confrontation. The shareholders who supported Sophia stood up one after another to cheer her on, while the supporters of the Black Gold Consortium also refused to back down. The quarrels between the two sides rose and fell. In the voting session, each vote carried a great deal of weight. The vote counter counted the votes nervously, and time seemed to stand still. Sophia's heart was pounding, and her palms were sweating, but she still maintained her composure and silently prayed. Finally, the vote counter stood up and announced the voting result. Sophia's side won by a narrow margin, and the acquisition proposal of the Black Gold Consortium was rejected. At that moment, warm applause and cheers erupted in the venue. Sophia and her team hugged each other tightly, tears of joy streaming down their faces. The representatives of the Black Gold Consortium looked livid. They couldn't believe that they had actually lost. Victor gave Sophia a vicious look and then left the venue in a hurry. Sophia knew that this victory had not come easily. It was the result of countless days and nights of hard work and perseverance. She looked out at the sky outside the venue, and the sunlight shone on her face. Her heart was filled with joy and pride. The family business had finally turned the corner, and she would lead the family towards a new era of glory. Chapter 7. A new beginning. After the shareholders' meeting, the entire family was immersed in the joy of victory. Her father, David, looked at Sophia with eyes brimming with pride and relief. He hugged her tightly, his voice slightly choked with emotion. "My child, I was wrong. You are far braver and stronger than I ever imagined. The family business owes its current success all to you." Her sister, Amy, also walked over, wearing an expression of deep apology. "Sophia, I was too impulsive before and didn't believe in you. You are truly remarkable." Amidst the praises and gratitude of everyone, Sophia firmly established her position within the family business. She began to take over all aspects of the family business affairs, relying on the experience she had accumulated during this crisis and her own wisdom. She promoted the development of the enterprise in an orderly manner. She led the team to conduct more in-depth research, development, and expansion of the new energy project, attracting a large number of investments and partners. As a result, the reputation and strength of the family business were greatly enhanced. One day, after a busy day at work, Sophia returned to her office. She sat at her familiar desk, and her gaze fell on an old box in the corner. She slowly got up, opened the box, and took out that mysterious script. This script had once been her guiding light in the darkness, and the key weapon that enabled her to save the family. She gently opened the script, but what she saw left her stunned. The pages that had originally been filled with prophecies and clues were now completely blank, as if those thrilling stories had never happened. A surge of surprise welled up in Sophia's heart. She flipped through the script repeatedly, trying to find even a single word, but to no avail. However, soon a relieved smile appeared on Sophia's face. She understood that the mission of this mysterious script had been accomplished. It had emerged at the most critical moment for the family, providing her with guidance and strength. helping her defeat the Black Gold Consortium and safeguard the family business. And now, she had grown into a family leader who could take on full responsibilities independently. For the road ahead, she would rely on her own wisdom and courage to forge ahead. She put the script back into the box, her heart filled with anticipation for the future. She knew that the family business would still face various challenges, but she was no longer afraid, because she firmly believed that as long as she remained true to her original aspiration and kept working hard, she would surely be able to lead the family business to an even more glorious future. In this business world full of opportunities and challenges, Sophia and her family business were about to embark on a brand new legend.